Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Rachel Roller. The talker of the week, of course, the sit-down bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry, sharing their experiences as senior members of the royal family with allegations of lies, racism, mental health struggles endured under that monarchy. So let's discuss it now. Let's bring in royal reporter for Good Morning Britain, Louisa James, founding editor of Mediaite, Colby Hall, and host of Stacy on the Right, Stacey Washington. Louisa, I want to start with you because we're seeing some things on social media just this morning. One of your colleagues, Piers Morgan of Good Morning Britain, walking off set after disagreeing with another one of your colleagues over his treatment of the royal couple. We know that this did officially air in the UK last night. What is the response this morning?
Well, I think what happened on Good Morning Britain this morning shows how emotional people are feeling about it in this country. These are very personal issues that were discussed. When you get into talking about things like racism and mental health and feelings of suicide, then, you know, it is going to get uncomfortable at times. And Piers Morgan in the past has been outspoken about his feelings about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, and he was the same yesterday morning on the show. This morning, our weather presenter, Alex, came on and wanted to put another side to that, to counter some of those claims. And the discussion got rather heated, let's just say. And Piers took a couple of moments out to calm down before he came back, and the discussion continued. And actually, I think everybody felt like it was a very valuable discussion after that. Both got their chance to put their sides across. And although I don't think they agreed in the end, they have a lot of respect for each other. And I guess it takes the temperature of the country at the moment. I think much more than you guys over there, we here are still very divided over this, I think.
And you do have a much different connection, of course, being in the UK. Stacey, I want to ask you, Meghan said in that interview that there were concerns and conversations over how dark her baby's skin color would be. Let's take a listen to that.
Won't be given security. He's not going to be given a title. And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
Now that claim, Stacey, if true, terribly upsetting and sad. I'm also seeing headlines this morning saying that the coverage of Meghan Markle was a result of a lack of diversity in the newsroom in the UK. What's your thoughts?
Well, okay, so I might be a little shocking here, but you always ask me on here to give my unvarnished opinion. I want to first say that I feel like the treatment that the media in Britain gave her was brutal, and it was kind of frightening to me because she was coming over, young and in love with Harry, and they never really gave her a chance in the media. But the media is not her family, and extended family relations can be fraught with difficulties. And so I want to first say that many, many family members, including my own, when you look at the variation in skin tone, discussions are had. Whose hair do you think the baby will have? Whose skin tone do you think the baby will have? And babies always surprise us. They come out and they are the way they're made. We don't get to custom order them. So we don't know the context in which that discussion was had. If it was had in a racially incendiary context, then it's horrifying. But if it was had in a nonchalant way, the same way that people who have blonde hair and they're married to someone who's dark haired often have someone who's a ginger haired baby, and the discussion is whose hair do you think they'll get? Will it be like my mom or yours? That can be a discussion that's had that's not racially incendiary. But if you have a bad relationship with someone and they bring up something that's sensitive to you, you're going to take it in a bad way, even if they don't mean it. So I just want context. I would have preferred for her to give some more context there rather than to drop that bombshell without anything further.
That is an interesting point you make, because Oprah asked about it, pushed further, and Meghan kind of kept saying, if that's the assumption you make, I think was her response. And then Oprah then asked Harry about it, and Harry said that's not something I ever want to talk about again, and he wouldn't go into any further detail. So of course, people are wondering the context, wondering who in fact said it, what exactly did they say. Let's move on from that one though. Colby, a lot of people also talking about the fact that there might not be a whole lot of credibility to the interview. Something as simple as Piers Morgan calling it a whine-a-thon, but let's not go into Piers. Let's talk about the fact that some are saying Meghan claimed they got married 3 days before their wedding. Yesterday, we saw all these articles saying, hey, that didn't actually happen. They just had an exchange of vows. There was a miscommunication in the interview. So were there other miscommunications in that interview? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it was Oprah hasn't really done a big interview in a long time, and she comes out of semi-retirement and drops this bombshell. Just shows how great Oprah is. And she ends up she's really good at extracting, making her subjects feel really comfortable. and so comfortable that they say things that they may have to go back and clean up, and then she'll say like, what? And are we not entertained? It's been sort of like a fascinating thing, and filling the vacuum of news that doesn't exist anymore. I feel like, Ms. Markle was a disruptor. She came in and she really was vilified. People don't understand, perhaps, viewers in America, how vicious and brutal the British tabloids are. And a lot of that but a lot of that comes from the Queen. If the Queen wanted that bullying to stop, she could have done that. But the other side to this is that I wish that I were as bullied as Meghan Markle. And I don't mean to be light. I mean, obviously she was having serious depression, and if you're having suicidal thoughts, that's very, very serious. But man, they're living a pretty great lifestyle right now. There's 1 million Americans who would kind of check right now to be in the dire straits that they're supposedly in right now. So yeah, there's many different facets to this story. I suspect if they could do the interview over, that both Meghan and Prince Harry would probably dial in and be a little bit more exact. But here we are talking about it day 2, and I suspect it will continue to go for some time, because this is a bombshell that has huge impact on the role of the monarchy and the royal family in Great Britain.
And of course, the UK fascinated by the story, but here in the US also, there was that shocking revelation about mental health. Let's take a listen to that.
It was all happening just because I was breathing. And look, I was really ashamed to say it at the time, and ashamed to have to admit it to Harry, especially, because I know how much loss he's suffered. But I knew that if I didn't say it, that I would do it, and I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
Louisa, mental health, suicide, depression, never something, in my opinion, that should ever be taken lightly, no matter how you feel about someone, no matter what your perception of them is. But we've seen this over time with Princess Diana speaking up about her depression, her bulimia. Now we're hearing Meghan Markle speaking about somewhat of a similar topic years later. Of course, the connection being Harry's wife, Harry being Diana's son, and she's saying she didn't get help. Is it, do you think, being over there, you have a much better understanding of how this all works? Do you think it was, in fact, quote, not a good look for her to receive help for her depression?
Well, what's particularly problematic about it for the royal family is that Princes Harry and William have spoken out about the importance of being open about mental health. They founded a whole charity called Heads Together, which was all about speaking out about how you feel and asking for help when you need it. And that was partly in response to their mother, in the way that they felt their mother perhaps didn't get the help she needed and wasn't able to speak out in the way she wanted to. And both of them have spoken about seeking help for their mental health problems as well. So the palace PR department, or HR department, even human resources department, doesn't come out of this well, especially because we had, just before the interview last week, although it seems like a lifetime ago, that allegation of a bullying complaint against Meghan Markle herself, which apparently wasn't investigated. So first you've got them not investigating potentially a bullying complaint against a senior member of the royal family. And now you've got potentially them not helping a senior member of the royal family when she asks for help. So I think that is the question that they really have got to answer. And as you say, it's not the first time that they've been faced with questions like this. We still haven't heard from Buckingham Palace. They've maintained this silence. We hear that the Queen refused to sign off a statement late last night because she wanted more time to think about it. And it is that question of mental health and also that question of racism in the royal family, the two things that I think people really want them to address.
So the Queen refusing to sign off on that statement, so kind of implying that we might in fact hear something from the palace, which of course shocking a lot of people that they'll respond in general. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have now. I would love to discuss this with all of you much further, but Louisa, Colby, and Stacy, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.